It's Oklahoma, so we've got to say always confident, but maybe a little bit more extra confident here in 2021. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, breaking down the Sooners. We do so with Jason Ray from Last Word on College Football. And we're going to break down spring practice with, of course, the spring game coming up in a couple of weeks. Jason, how are we doing today?
Great, Mark. Thanks for having me on. How are you?
I am doing just fine. Please share the videos out on social media, and subscribe right here. So we know when the spring game is. We've got that nailed down now. That would be, I wrote it down right here. April 17th.
April 24th.
24th. I already forgot. April 24th at 4 p.m. Central Time.
That's right.
I remembered that part of it. All right, Jason. Thank you for those details. Then let's see to the offensive side of the ball. A lot of the key offensive contributors met with the media this week and position coaches as well. What were you able to take from some of those conversations?
Yeah, I think, Mark, one of the biggest and really the kind of the longest transcript that there was with some of the offensive coaches was really with offensive line coach Bill Bedenbaugh. Really, one of the areas where Oklahoma underachieved just a bit in 2020, just in terms of what they were expected to do, coming into the season. So Bill Bedenbaugh has talked a little bit about this, and it looks like there's been a fairly significant mental, I guess, a mental attitude coming into the spring ball versus where they were at in fall. They were a little heavy on the offensive line, especially at the guard position. Some of the kids came in a little bit overweight, as not incredibly overweight, but not exactly where he would have liked them to be. And so they've made a big change to slim down a little bit here in the spring of 2021. So he in talking with him, he was very, very excited about some of those kids and how they've come into 2021, just kind of a different attitude, so to speak. So I think one of the guys that he talked a lot about was Andrew Raym. He will be a sophomore this year out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Really highly recruited, 4-star guy, according to 247, was a guy that was really talented coming in. And Bedenbaugh talked a little bit about him. He was a guy that, he was out a couple of times with contact tracing, and then he got COVID himself once. So he had to, he missed several spurts of time of the season for Oklahoma, and Bedenbaugh still talked about he had the opportunity to start as a true freshman. So shows some of the talent that he has. He's had a really, really good spring. Talked about him a lot as a guy that could make some waves, and he's a guy that's going to be battling against two guys at the guard position that are seniors. Tyrese Robinson and Marquise Hayes have played a lot of ball for Oklahoma on the offensive line, and so talked a lot about them. Anton Harrison is a guy who played at the tackle position for Oklahoma last year, slimmed down a little bit, maybe slimmed down a little bit too much, according to Bedenbaugh, but has really turned the corner from a mental aspect. And really that's the biggest thing for some of these kids coming in as newer offensive linemen, is really being in a position to be able to catch things up mentally. Bedenbaugh also talked a little bit about the center position. I think from all intents and purposes, you can pretty much, unless something crazy happens, they're very much pushing Chris Murray, which is the transfer from UCLA, played a little bit last year. He'll be there in that starting spot in the center position. He seems to be pretty focused on that. Reading between the lines, it would be surprising to see really anyone else